Hello everybody and welcome back to the Duke Blue Devils Dynasty mode, or I guess I should say the Penn State Dynasty mode now that it has shifted into as Fred Kirk has fled the Duke program in Durham and has traveled up north to Pennsylvania to take over the Penn State Nittany Lions. And in our first year, we have had a solid season here. Obviously, we talked about it in the previous video, finishing off 9-3 in our first season in the Big Ten. And now that's put us up against the Georgia Bulldogs, who are a very interesting team for a number of reasons. Both teams in this game have struggled with some quarterback injury. Both the Bulldogs and us have fielded two different quarterbacks this season, neither of which have really performed all that great. Combined, though, the numbers are pretty good for both teams, you know what I mean? But Keenan Handy, our backup quarterback, played a lot of reps this season, and he did not do very well, like at all. 9 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, just 1,500 yards. Not great, but Chris Boyer is healthy, our starter. He is healthy going into this game, so we should be more than okay. And there he is right there, celebrating. But we should be more than okay. And then a lot of rotational stuff has been happening on our team especially, but Georgia has a really powerful backfield. They have a very strong fullback who's listed second on their running back depth chart, but I mean, he's pretty much been doing both. So Georgia's got a really good backfield that we got to worry about, and then we've also rotating 2 running backs pretty consistently. So we are also pretty much, like a good running team here. So we'll see. Maybe that's where the game is going to be won, is in those margins, between the gaps here between running backs and fullbacks, but I'm pretty high on our odds here. We have a really solid offense heading into this game, if you saw in our national ranks here heading into this game. So we should be more than good enough offensively to beat this Georgia team, but they are ranked and we are not. So big SEC opponent. Let's see if we can grab a dub here as the Bulldogs are starting things off for us on offense and just laying that thing up here. It is going to be Jamal Hammond, the sophomore, who is the starter for Georgia. Their starter is also healthy in this game, and he just floats one up here and finds Chris Chester, the safety, in the end zone for the first turnover of the game. And now Chris Boyer leading the Nittany Lions the other direction. And Boyer sends one to the end zone and finds it. Just finds an open target, man. Drops that one into the bucket, and that is Tyrus Thomas, the sophomore receiver, just coming down with that one, just absolutely in the basket, man. Look at this pass from Boyer, just drops that baby in there. Couldn't have been a better pass, couldn't have been located better. Just solid stuff, man. Great stuff all around. So we're going to strike first offensively, and that is all that's going to happen in the first quarter. Now, once again, if only you guys knew how this game would end. That's kind of crazy that this is only 7-0 after just one quarter of play. We are back on offense now on a 3rd and 7. Boyer trying to get at least to the sticks, but he wants a lot more, and he finds, again, Tyrus Thomas in the middle of the field here, surrounded by defenders, and just somehow barely just threads that one through. Or actually, excuse me, it was not Tyrus Thomas, man. It was someone else even further. I don't even think it was Rusty Crocker, who was like 4th on the depth chart. We might have went way down. This might have been even a backup tight end, potentially. We just went way down. We're finding it anywhere we can get it, man. And Fred Kirk has been rotating in a lot of offensive pieces this season because we just have so much of it everywhere. So, leading 14-0 over the Bulldogs, but Georgia will not be silenced for long as they're finally relying on that backfield here as Chris Costa, the running back for the Bulldogs, gets in the end zone for his 7th touchdown of the year. The big thing to note about Costa, the running back, is that he's averaging 5.8 yards a carry, which normally in this game is kind of high. Normally everyone's averaging like in the 4.5 area, but he's over a yard over that. So he's been pretty effective all season long for the Bulldogs, although he is underneath that 1,000 threshold. But now we're flexing that passing game once again as Boyer just merely beats the safety with that football and manages to find Tyrese Thomas for another touchdown in this game. And so he is just absolutely showing out right now, showing out in that Nittany Lion uniform, and he is our top receiver, so I mean it's not too much of a shock here. But O.J. Rowe, who is listed below him, has very similar numbers on the year as well, but the touchdown numbers are completely lopsided. But Tyrese Thomas is catching up a little bit in this bowl game, so we'll obviously look at all those stats at the end of the video, so don't worry about it. But 21-7 is now your score here in the Capital One Bowl, but Georgia will not be silenced for long unless Jamal Hammond just keeps throwing interceptions like that, and he's only got 3 on the season. So again, he missed a lot of the season, but he's coming into this game with a 13-3 ratio, and he's already got 2 in this game, so he's trying to even it out any means necessary. But Boyer's going to try and run it himself on a broken play, and he's going to fumble the football, and maybe that's not why probably why he shouldn't do that anymore. Probably should not do that anymore, but it's okay. Just our first turnover. We still have a nice lead here, but we gave Georgia an opportunity. I just said that really southern, Georgia. I didn't even mean to do that. I was just choking on my mouth. But now we are on the offense again, or on the move offensively again, and it's Tyrese Thomas for another huge touchdown. And Boyer and Thomas, man, that connection has just been unstoppable in this game here. Unless Georgia can figure out a way to lock down 86 or stop 15 from throwing the ball, it's going to be a rough day in the secondary for Georgia all day long. And I'm not really sure defensively how well they stack up against our defense, you know what I mean, going tit for tat here, but so far we're seeing that it does not compare. So 28-7 is now the score here late in the first half, but Georgia still some time here to do something if they want to, and on that 1st and 10 play, they're going to try and get it out, it looks like to the fullback, but he's going to be brought down short. Now they're going to try and run the hurry up here, 2nd and 1, just need a yard here, the clock does not stop, still running under 30 seconds, and Hammond, another interception, this one's heading the other way, picked off in stride, and we know our linebackers are so strong, man, they're so smart too. That football IQ is just there, man. Defensively, we are just so strong, and I don't know if Georgia has enough offense here to really overpower that. You would think that they do, being 13th in the country, of course, 11-2, and a tough SEC, despite this not being the real-life SEC. That's still a tough thing to do in that conference, but things are struggling. Things are not going very well for Georgia's offense right now, and Chris Boyer finally is going to give another turnover to the Georgia defense, and he's been so good picking apart that secondary all game, but finally it just comes apart here in the last 20 or so seconds of the first half, and he throws an interception here. And so now Georgia on the attack once again, 12 seconds left to go. Hammond steps up in the pocket, unloads, and finds another Penn State defender in the secondary for another interception, man. And now that makes the turnover number between both teams 6, just 6. And we are in the first half. We still have 2 more quarters left to play, but we are firmly holding on to a 21-point lead over the Bulldogs here after just 1 half. So we are in good position. If we can just score maybe a couple more touchdowns, we might be celebrating a bowl victory at the end of this. Boyer, pressure in his face, but it doesn't matter. Gets rid of it in time and finds another Penn State receiver wide open in the end zone, and that time I believe it was O.J. Rowe. And it was O.J. Rowe completely wide open in the end zone, and he gets his first touchdown of this bowl game here, the junior does. And now we are really opening this thing here. 35-7 is going to be your score here, pending the extra point. That's all that would happen in the third quarter. Georgia's offense does not leave the locker room, and so their coach is going to have to grab them by the shoulder pads and get something going here, because the Bulldogs are getting embarrassed right now in their own backyard. So Hammonds now drops back to pass, and there's pressure. He evades the first potential sacker and manages to find it all the way downfield, and it's wide open. Man, just a foot race to the end zone, and no one is even close in the vicinity, and Georgia is going to come away with a huge touchdown here. So we're going to get another look at this, because this was just absolute action from beginning to end. Hammond's trying to find an opening in the pocket here. It's just collapsing, and give a shout out to Chris Costa here for just laying down the block, man, just preventing, because I think his blocking probably gave Hammonds that extra second to even get the football away. And then he just manages to find an open target. So, big touchdown for Georgia here, but still, it's a wide lead for your Nittany Lions. And actually, it's not even Boyer, I think Handy's in here. Keenan Handy, we finally put in the backups, and Keenan Handy finds, again, another receiver. I believe it might not be your backup tight end. It might just be one of our further receivers down the depth chart. Again, I don't have him listed, because I went down 3 or 4 names, and he was not one of them. So, we are just rotating in as many pieces as we can. And, yeah, that's Keenan Handy getting in here and getting his 10th touchdown of the season. And just, further extending this lead here. So we are in good shape against the Bulldogs. They just do not have the weapons that we do. We are just so deep on offense, and both teams would add another touchdown here, and we'd walk away with a huge, convincing victory over Georgia here in the Capital One Bowl and grab ourselves another bowl victory in this Dynasty mode. I think that puts us at, I don't know what, 4 or 5? I think it's 4 consecutive at least. I mean, we haven't been outside of that, but yeah, I think it's about 4 in a row now. So we are still continuing the magic here with Penn State. We don't need no stinking Duke no more. We don't, man. Okay, we don't. And we just put up the offensive numbers. Look at that. Over 600 yards of offense. We ran the football really well. We passed very well. I mean, yeah, this is an absolutely just dominant offense. Georgia didn't convert a single third down, and we converted 7 of them. We were 70% on third down. We're just good. And every possible metric that you could possibly be good at, we found a way to be good at it. So, our defense found a way to silence Georgia in every possible aspect. Minus, of course, the 21 points. So, but that is going to be the end of this section, at least, end of the bowl game. And now we're going to get into the rest of the season here and see what we can do in the offseason and in the following season. Even though we did not match, I guess, what Duke ended up doing. I don't know, maybe. Well, we'll see them here, I guess. I'll look for them. But still a very strong showing in our very first bowl game at the helm of the Nittany Lions. Very, very nice. I also left a comment about Frames Janklin. I mean, we're close, Fred Kirk. I mean, it's, I don't know, kind of. It's just funny. Anyway, but I'm going to sim through the rest of the bowls now. We're not really looking for anything, I guess, like job-wise or anything. There's nothing big that's going to change. Here's your national title game. North Texas made it back. Please, oh my God, if my Buckeyes do not win this, I swear to God. But we're going to simulate all the bowls here. and then continue in with the rest of the off-season, or I guess regular season festivities here, because we have to go through everything, and I'll look for Duke and whatnot. Oh yeah, look at there, Ohio State wins it, perfect. I normally pause this part out, but now you can see it. Perfect. Ohio State manages to win. So yeah, there's nothing else really to happen here. We'll look for Duke if we can find them wherever they're at. I think I did already look off camera. If I can find them, what on earth are they? Here they are. They made it to the Tangerine Bowl. They made it back, and they had to play New Mexico State. What a gross bowl game. And they barely won by a point. So, and I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost positive one of New Mexico State's losses on the year is to Duke. Or maybe it's the other way around. I think Duke's one loss is New Mexico State. Hold on. Let's go through it. I think I said I would do it in the last video, but we'll do it. Let me see here. No, I'm tripping. I'm just making stuff up. They lost NC State. Just ignore me. But their schedule's about the same as like we've kept it, and they kept the 2 games of Central Michigan at home for some reason because the game is broken. It's just completely broken. So this 12-1 record includes 2 wins against Central Michigan. And I went over the roster. I'm not going to go that far and show you guys all that, but I looked over the roster. No, it's about the same as what it was when I left. They didn't really change like a whole lot. Like they didn't drastically fix or improve this roster, and their scores are about what we saw when we were coaching Duke. So this is pretty par for the course for them, actually. I guess that season was always kind of in the cards for me if I had stayed with Duke. That was always kind of a possibility. But instead, we jumped ship here, and I'm actually kind of happy with what we did here in year number 1. We finished ranked 20th in the country, 10-3 here. Improved a lot in conference, which is the big thing, man. Finished 6-2 in the Big Ten, which is massive from last year where they were 3-4. So now let's look over, of course, all of the stats. And, of course, the national championship winner is in our conference. Just as I was talking about how bad the Big Ten was last year, they turn around and win the national championship. So, all right, so both Chris Boyer and Keenan Handy got on the field this year. So we didn't really have to worry too much about a quarterback battle because they both ended up getting on the field a good bit here. So it looks like they both made had a good portion of starts at least. Like Keenan Handy probably started maybe a handful of games here, I would imagine, and Chris Boyer started a lot, started a majority of the season. And Chris Boyer actually had a pretty good season. Even the 2,200 yards, I guess you take it, considering the injury, but 21-10, so he kept the interceptions where they kind of were, but more than doubled the touchdowns, so that's a good thing. That is a good place to be at. Yeah, both of them were sacked a good amount of times, which is probably why we had multiple quarterbacks take snaps for us this year. So, but Keenan Handy, not a great season from him either, so I think we made the right choice by sticking with Chris Boyer, but it just didn't happen how we thought it would because of injuries. But running the football was an issue, which in the Big Ten, that cannot be an issue. We need to run the football effectively. We had 2 guys with a good amount of touchdowns, so 12 touchdowns between 2 backs, but between these 2 guys, this is about 1 good season. So we split 1 good running back season between 2 guys, so that's not going to work moving down the line. We're going to have to run the football a little bit more, but we know I'm a pass-heavy coach, so that was a strategy I wanted to bring to Penn State, and it worked out in our favor, but, you know, we still need to run a little bit better than this. Just a little bit better. Receiving-wise, so O.J. Rowe leads the team in receptions and touchdowns, but Tyrus Thomas here leads the team in yards with over 1,000. The only receiver really close to 1,000, as O.J. Rowe was just 5 shy of 900. So, but there are a good amount of touchdowns spread out here. We have 3 guys with 7 or more, which is pretty good, but he's our tight end. Vic Hoffman is our tight end, and he's 3rd on the team in touchdowns. So, and then, yeah, Jameel Lumpkin, only 3. Not great. So there's not a lot of good offensive numbers I guess I'm seeing here. Clifford Billings, another great season, or a great season. This is first, I guess, true season really starting, being a figure of our offensive line. Great season from him. Kevin Langford, kind of a mixed bag compared to last year, I guess. Allowed almost double the sacks. But when you're doubling 4, that's still not that many, but still above the most here on the offensive line. Eric Williams, a great season from him. Not a lot of pancakes here, but he was not letting a lot of people past him. He was just containing blocks. That's all he was doing. Deshaun Mitchell really struggled, though. Really struggled. From last year, man, he had a huge down year in his sophomore season, so hopefully that bounces back in his junior year. And then Jordan McDowell, not a great season either. Tim Crocker, I mean, not too much really to look at here. We had a lot of guys rotate in and out, so but Clifford Billings leading the team in pancakes, probably the best season on the line. So it was a lot better last year. Defensively, Darnell Glenn leads the team in tackles with 84, huge step up from where he was last year. TFLs, we have 3 guys with double digits here, all kind of sitting at the top here. LeBron Pierce has a great season as a figure of this defense. He was great last year even, but as an actual fixture, a permanent starter, he had a great season. And then Deshaun Thomas also had a pretty good season as well. Sack leader is going to go to Deshaun Thomas with just 7, so I'd like to see more sacks. I'm not seeing a lot of numbers. It's kind of shocking. Maybe our schedule was just that bad that we were able to just kind of do what we did, but I'm not seeing a ton of numbers that really stick out. But Curtis Chester, 7 interceptions for the sophomore free safety. That is a huge standout number. That is a nice standout number. I like to see that. So, and then good, Solomon McLevy up to 79%, like 20% higher than last year. That's a huge boost from kicking, and that probably was a humongous help for us this season. So that is good to see from our kicking unit. And then looking at our stat rankings, wow, dude, look at this. We had an amazing offense. So the numbers to me did not really reflect it, but I guess spread out throughout the team, I mean, we are there, man. We had the second and first best offense by a few metrics here in the Big Ten, and just a top 10 offense in general in the entire country here. And rushing wasn't even that bad. We were middle of the pack in the Big Ten, 57th in the country here. Points per game, we were 10th. Yeah, I'm guessing we're second only to Ohio State. That's my guess here. Just like real life Penn State. Is it too soon? Is it too soon for that? Passing TDs, we were 3rd. We were 1st in the Big Ten, so that was one thing we did better than Ohio State, I guess. Same with first downs. But overall, our offensive numbers here are really good here. Sacks allowed, we allowed a lot of sacks, so that's not something that we can really do considering how good our offensive line is. Like, that's kind of an alarming stat, but it's okay. So, red zone now. Remember, the red zone stats were weird last year, at least defensively, but offensively, our percentage was not very good. We were 70th. That's not really all that good. We're in the back end of the Big Ten. Yeah, not super great, but again, looking at the attempts and stuff, we were inside the top 50, so we just, I don't know, weren't capitalizing as much on opportunities, maybe. Something to take away. A defense now. So defense was okay. We're in the top half of the Big Ten and a lot of these metrics, which is good here. You want to be good in conference, obviously. You want to be good nationally, but it's almost much more, if not more important, to be higher in the conference. So let's see here. Sacks, we were 18, so we were getting a lot of sacks and giving up a lot of sacks. Interesting. Interceptions, we were 8th. Fumbles, we were 19th, so our defense was generating a lot of turnovers, man. Getting a lot of turnovers. Red zone percentage was also bad. So last year, that was like a thing that was like, it's about the same, actually. Yeah, it's about the same thing last year. So remember last year, our percentage was also really bad, but our attempts, we were like among the top in the country. And again, it's kind of a similar situation with this Penn State defense. So not super shocking, man. Our defense, we just play good defense. It's the Big Ten. It's what we do. And then as far as efficiency goes, we were actually really good on third down this year. Actually pretty good. I think we were worse last year, but we were actually pretty good. And fourth down percentage, man, we were actually really good on it too. We actually took quite a few of them. So Fred Kirk was really aggressive this year on 3rd and 4th down, and actually paid off quite a bit. So that's a good thing to see, man. Good thing to do. And look at that, man. We went from a terribly disciplined team to the best disciplined team in the entire country. Look at that, man. We're the best, most disciplined team in all of college football. That's amazing. I don't think we'll do that again. I don't think I've ever done that playing this game. That's awesome, man. Okay, so we turned the ball over a lot. We fumbled a lot, and we threw a lot of interceptions. That's not good. We have to limit the interceptions. That was a problem last year as well. Got to limit those. Yeah, 86th in giveaways. Not great at all. But fortunately, it looks like our defensive numbers kind of offset it a little bit. Yeah, it brings our turnover differential inside the top 25. So look how bad our offensive turnover numbers are. And then just like where we finish in our differential because our defense was just so good. So we played great defense. And again, a lot of these guys are young, so you can expect to see a lot of the same faces next season. So with that, it is now time to get into the off-season festivities. Allow me to record all my standings and whatnot. I think I'll actually I'm going to show the Big Ten at least. I think I need to start showing the conference standings. We haven't been in a conference because Duke is independent, so there hasn't really been much of a reason. But now we're going to look over our conference standings. So, of course, Ohio State, national champions, finished number 1 in the conference. I think they were one of 2 games that we did lose, so one of 2 conference games. And then, of course, we've come in at second, just above Minnesota, who actually had a pretty good year. Again, I noted but in the previous video, I noted that Minnesota was like bottom in recruiting, and so they still had a good year. So in a couple of years, Lord knows what this Minnesota team's going to look like, but right now they're pretty good. Right now they're okay. Wisconsin, I think, was our other loss in conference this year, but Wisconsin was not very good. They did well in the Big Ten, but overall they were not very good. Iowa, another team, kind of a mixed bag here. Michigan, another down year from them. 9-4 you'll take. Obviously, most programs would take that, but for Michigan, especially in this game, that's not very good. The prestige down to 4 stars, so Michigan kind of falling off. Michigan State right behind them. Not a great year. Illinois finishes 3-9 with all 3 of their wins coming in conference. I'm curious what their out-of-conference schedule looked like because they were just struggling, man. Purdue has a 6-7 season, but they actually do worse in conference. I think they still made a bowl. That's why they're 6-7, but that's just a terrible year inside the Big Ten. They were basically us from last year when you think about it. Northwestern coming in at 3-9, and then Indiana holding up the caboose at 2-10. They're always bad in this. So the teams that we expected to be bad actually were like decent. I mean, they were all bad, but I mean, I expected like multiple like 2 or fewer win teams in the Big Ten this year, but there was actually a couple 3s and a 4, so not that it matters much. So now I'm going to go over the rest of the stuff, and then we will get into the offseason. All right, let's hop into the festivities. It shouldn't be another big class leaving. We're losing a few people here. So Jafar Harvey, who didn't really get on the field as a quarterback, he had a little bit of a sample here in this season because of the injuries, but didn't do very much with it. Julian Harrell is also leaving here. He was our top running back in terms of yardage, but again, we would have liked to have seen a little bit more for him here. We're also losing Terrell Harris. He's graduating. Eric Williams, our best player on the offensive line, he's gone. He did not have that great of a season. He was again, contesting the blocks here, but that's about it. Jess Gill's also gone. Not really losing a whole lot there. Dominic McIntosh, who was holding our pass rush on the left side together, he's now leaving. Bobby Gonzalez, we're deep at the defensive tackle position, so I think we're going to be fine. And then Will Suggs, one of our better defensive players as well, is also leaving. And then we lose our punter. Not our punter. What are we going to do without a punter? But it's still not that great. Excuse me. I choked my own spit with my terrible joke. But it's not a huge class that we are losing. So we're losing one of our third-string quarterback, our starting running back and fullback, and then, you know, our left guard, and then everyone else we could probably at least replace, or at least should be able to. So, and if you didn't notice, I barely noticed, but our prestige did go up by beating Georgia in the Capital One Bowl. So we should be able to maybe get some better prospects. So last year it was a slog, just like it always was with Duke, but it should be a lot better this season. So let's see what I can do with the roster. Maybe get a whole bunch of blue chips and turn this team into an actual national title contender. I would love to do that. So let's see what I can do. Okay, definitely a little bit better than last year, but there's still some missed opportunities that I'm a little upset about. But we'll get into it right now looking at our signings. So, we grabbed a few blue chips, a couple of receivers, so this basically completely overhauls our receiving core. We already had a pretty good receiving core, but I think these guys should completely just take it from where it's currently at to the very next level. Also grabbed a new tight end, so our receiving group, there should be no excuses why we have fewer than 2 guys with 1,000 yards. You know what I mean? Like we should definitely have at least one 1,000-yard receiver, definitely multiple, guaranteed multiple. So, but we'll see how these guys all pencil in to our depth chart currently, because I don't think, again, we didn't really need this much talent there, but it never hurts to have better talent, right? Then we also got a 4-star center. He was just kind of thrown to me. I didn't really look for him, but he's from Canada. And Oshawa was at least closer than Edmonton was, so he doesn't have to travel super far. And then Lester Moore. I got a 4-star free safety here, just grabbing him in. We needed a fullback, so I grabbed another fullback here, 4-star, good depth here. I grabbed a lot of defensive ends. There was a couple 5-stars I was looking at. Couldn't really land any of them, but I did get at least a 4-star, so that's something here, just trying to keep that in. We're losing a left end, so we need to grab another one, which is good. Did get a new punter. We had a couple punters that wanted to come, so 4-star punter, why not? I did get 2 4-star fullbacks. One of them I didn't even target. The other one just kind of came. Same with the center. He just kind of came. Got another 3-star defensive end as well. They just threw fullbacks at. We're going to have to cut a lot of them. Goodness gracious. I did not target half of these guys. I promise you guys that. Yeah, same with the running backs and stuff. We needed middle linebackers. There was no one on a better end that I could get. This guy from Vancouver just decided to come here. He's like, you know what? I'm going to Penn State. And I don't remember ever giving you an offer, son. So walking on at Penn State's definitely not a thing you're going to do, okay? So someone messed up and sent him an offer letter. I don't know who it was. It was not me. But either way, so we got a lot of the same positions. We didn't need a whole lot. The roster, I think, only had 3 positions that actually needed addressing, which I think was fullback, defensive end, I think middle linebacker, I think. So we got stuff all over there, but I think we have enough depth at linebacker where we could probably slot somebody in. At middle linebacker, we probably didn't need to recruit somebody brand new, but in a couple years, that's going to be an issue if we're not able to recruit at that position. So, okay, now we're going to look at some of the current targets. I'll show you guys who I missed out on. I was in on both of these quarterbacks. I lost them out. I lost out on one, went to Miami, one went to Toledo. Toledo still just a powerhouse in the MAC right now. I was in on this defensive tackle. He ends up going to West Virginia. Another five-star receiver who I lost to Toledo. He's from Westerville, Ohio. Fun fact: I lived in Westerville, Ohio. That's I lived in Westerville, Ohio for like 6 or 7 years. But yeah, I grew up in Ohio a little bit, in Westerville specifically. So that receiver, close to home. Then another quarterback, five-star quarterback I lost out on and went to Western. Dude, the MAC is just we're fighting with the MAC every year. I think I did throw some points at this tackle. He ends up going to Notre Dame. Yeah, I was in on this defensive end. He ends up going to Miami. I mean, dude, like the MAC. Why is the MAC giving me so many problems? I'm fighting with the MAC. I don't know why the MAC is giving me so much grief, but we should be better recruiting wise. North Texas, #1 again, dude. What is going on with the Mean Green? I don't understand. North Texas just figuring this thing out, dude. They've got it figured out. Miami's jumping back up in here. They're ready to be an actual serious contender once again. They haven't really faltered. They're still a 6-star prestige, but, you know, they haven't been winning natties like they normally do in this game. UCLA up here. I think they've won a couple Pac-10 championships the last couple of years. West Virginia still up here. Our conference rivals here in Ohio State, the reigning champs, are here at 5. Okay, at least familiar blue bloods are all here in this top thing, except for North Texas, of course. One of these is not like the other. And then Rice is still up here, too, in the top 10 as well. Oklahoma, Georgia, who we did just beat. Duke, man, what is going on? Duke! Oh my god. Am I gonna have to worry about Duke? There's no way. Oh my god. Duke is still doing it, man. They're gonna fall off. Just mark my words. They will fall off. One of their top prospects is a kicker. I don't want to hear it. Okay, Tennessee's 12th, Notre Dame. Okay, we're 16th, so this is the highest recruiting class I've had, just period, since we've been doing this series. But yeah, this is the highest one we've got here. And again, there's not a ton of Big Ten representation here up top. So we have Ohio State at 5. We're 16th. Who's the next closest here? We're still looking, man. Still looking. Michigan. Michigan's here at 31st. That's probably about it. So the conference is not recruiting well at all. Iowa's here at 45th. Yeesh, I'm still waiting for a lot of guys to pop up. Wisconsin's at 56. I think they were about there last year as well. We had a couple guys like in the 50s, and it looks like they're going to stay right about there. Illinois is at 64. Yeah, man, just not. Minnesota's at least a huge step up here at 69th, so they won't completely fall off in a couple of years, maybe. just maybe. Purdue's at 77. Yeah, 77. Who else, man? Do we got anyone else inside? Michigan State's at 86. Some of these guys were, like, well outside. Yeah, Northwestern's inside the top 100. They're at 90. So the back end of the conference seems to be getting a little bit better, but it looks like the top end might be evening out a little bit. So, yeah, that's something to look at here. Indiana's 110th. They at least got a lot of one-stars, though, so the roster's not going to be empty. But, yeah, so, okay. And there's a slew of MAC teams in here, too, so I guess the top of the MAC is really good, but the bottom is just awful. So, anyway, we're going to move on now. Let's get into the training results and see how the roster is going to shape up. Okay, so here we are. Why are we even worried about middle linebacker, man? Darnell Glenn is still here, and he is absolutely hitting that next level, getting 92 overall here. Chris Blackburn's up to an 89. Look at all of our linebackers stepping up, man. They were hitting the weight room, doing everything they could in the spring to get in tip-top shape for this upcoming season. Our defense is going to be legitimate, guys. It's going to be something fierce in this conference. Fred Gay is still here as well, as up to an 86 as a senior, so fullback's not even a major concern. Lewis Reynolds up to an 83 as a senior. I mean, hey, Kyle Knight, why not? In his redshirt season, he kept at it in the gym, and he stepped up to a 71, so he might actually be used in some capacity this year. Who knows? Curtis Chester also to an 88, so we have 2 loaded free safeties, man. They're both seniors. What are we going to do? Actually, no, one's a junior, so we're going to have Curtis Chester. Oh, my God, what are we going to do? LeBron Pierce up to an 88. God, this team is so freaking good. Penn State's previous coach is probably like just kicking himself, like, dude, because this team just got amazing, dude. This team is sick. I don't know how much contending we will do. Chris Boyer's up to a 90. He's up to a 90. I'm so excited about this roster, bro. We are freaking. Look at all these 80s, man. Oh my God, this team is going to be freaking stellar. Okay, let's just get right onto the cut phase, man. I'm racing to the depth chart. Let's just get through the next steps here because we got to see how this roster's shaping up, man. We got to. Okay, let's get right on into it. So Chris Boyer is going to be our starting quarterback at a 90. He's taken a huge leap over Keenan Handy. So if we have to see Keenan Handy, that's fine. You know, we should be all right still. He's up to an 82, but Chris Boyer is absolutely our starter. Hopefully we get a full healthy season of Chris Boyer because I think the sky is pretty much the limit with a healthy season of him. Bubba Holmes, Bubba Holmes, up to an 82 as our starting running back. Clint Hall behind him. He is quicker. You know, I like the speed, but it's not too much of a difference. So these guys will probably get swapped in and out anyway. That's probably how this is going to roll, but we're fine there. At fullback, Fred Gay, of course, starting things off at an 86. Receiver is not nearly as good as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot better, but Tyrese Thomas, still our best receiver here, up to an 85. And then we have O.J. Rose, a senior, up to a 78, still hanging around. Derek Wise is one of the guys we just brought in, up to a 77, so he will definitely develop into something better than both of these guys, but for right now, he's not as high as I thought he was going to be. Roberto Lacey's here at a 76. Casey Gibbs, I think, is the JUCO transfer that we grabbed. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. I didn't focus too much on his name when we were going over our new recruits, because I did cut a few guys, some juniors and stuff, so I might have already cut the transfer that we got and kept one of our other juniors who were already on the roster. Tight end here, Vic Huffman is coming back here for his junior season, up to an 84. Blair White behind him at 82. And then we have the freshman we just brought in, Hakeem Gary, at 77. So we'll be good for the next few years at tight end. Okay, so offensive line, we're going to have to make some adjustments, obviously. But Amari Benton's probably going to start first at left guard at an 82. Deshaun Mitchell's going to start at center as a junior. Jordan McDowell's going to be our right guard at 86 as a senior. And then Kevin Langford's going to be our starting right tackle at 85. So we have a lot of seniors on the offensive line here. Yeah, we're going to run all seniors except for our center. So we're going to be pretty much replacing our O-line next season. We have a lot of depth at every single O-line position, so it's not going to be like complete holes or anything, but it's a lot of production that we're going to have to cash in on this year. Man, it's gotten a little bit better from last year, so it should be a lot better performance-wise. D'Angelo Brown up to a 76 as a left end, as a senior. Phil Morris up to a 77 as a right end, and then defensive tackle here. Some depth here that we have. Otis Hess is up to an 84 as a sophomore, man. It's a sophomore, so these guys are only going to get better, man. Our defensive line is going to be so sick next year. It's just going to be lights out next year. Pass rush included, and defensive tackle. All these guys are going to be great, but pass rush on the edge, man, we're also going to be very good. Our defense is going to be so fierce. All right, Chris Blackburn's listed as a starter at the left side here. Darnell Glenn is going to be starter up the middle, and then Deshaun Thomas. Ugh, okay, Spears needs to get involved. We'll see here. So he's fine on both sides. Yeah, I think we'll start him on the left side. Why not? And we'll start. Oops. Wrong guy. Wrong guy. And then we'll sit Blackburn, but we definitely should be rotating on defense, dude, because these guys, yeah, we have so much depth on defense. We should absolutely be rotating in and out. Okay, so Chris Tyson's going to be starting DB as a senior at 89, and then Trenton Henneket as 79 as a senior. So it looks like DB is going to be something we're going to need to work on a lot. We've got some guys behind still, so we're not going to be like at zero, but our two best guys are leaving after this season, so we're actually going to be losing quite a bit of guys after this year, so there's going to be a bit of rebuilding that's going to need to be done after this season. Curtis Chester is going to start first at free safety, even though it is Lewis Brown's senior year. Unfortunate, but we're good there. And then Ronaldo Hewitt, a senior, up to an 87 as our strong safety, so he will be good there. And then, of course, Solomon McLevy up to an 85, so he should be even better as a kicker this season. So that is how the roster shapes up. We're going to get right into the next season, see what the schedule is looking like. So there's a lot of upperclassmen, so I think this is going to be a huge make or break a year. We're going to see what we can do. I would love to win the Big Ten this year. I think that's a goal I'm going to set. Whether or not it's feasible or like a stretch goal, I can't really say. I think it's realistic, but Ohio State obviously is going to be like the juggernaut of this conference. So if we're going to beat Ohio State, we pretty much need to be national title contenders, and I'm not entirely sure if we're there yet. I think our defense is pretty darn close, but I think our offense is still kind of a ways off. We're definitely not playing Miami and Notre Dame. You got to be out of your mind. We're going to play Memphis. We're going to play Memphis. We're going to keep Fresno State and Syracuse. Fresno State's actually been pretty good in the WAC the last few years, so that should be a pretty difficult game. And then Syracuse has been one of the worst teams, just period, in FBS. So that's an easy game for us that we're going to keep. We're going to keep on the schedule, and then I'm going to look around and see. I guess we'll put USF. USF has also not been very good. So we have a couple easy games here in our non-con. Fresno State should be a more difficult game. We shouldn't lose this game. But it is another tough game on the schedule. Tough at a conference, so it should be a little bit of a test before we get into conference play. But this is what I'm going to roll with here. Should be an easy enough schedule here. The only ranked team in conference right now to start the year is Ohio State, so we probably could have kept at least one more ranked opponent on the schedule, but I'm fine with just playing the Buckeyes this year. I'm okay with that. Maybe when we get over that hump as an actual natty contender, I'll start scheduling more ranked teams, okay? But definitely not playing Miami and Ohio State. You got me effed up here, NCAA04. You got me messed up. So we're going to save through here. Actually, I guess we'll consider The coaching strategy, I'll look again. Let's see here. So I'm going to keep the offense. We're going to balance a little bit more because I think we should be able to do both pretty well. And then on defense, I'm going to up the sub a little bit more. And I think we're going to key in on the run a bit because we're really good. I think we're really good up front. DB is kind of weak, but like linebackers and defensive line are lights out. So we should be able to stop the run almost entirely with this defense. So that's how I'm going to run our strategy this season. And now I'm going to save. We're going to run the sim. Heyo, we did it. Let's go. Big Ten champs. Your Penn State Nittany Lions are Big Ten champs, folks. Look at that. We did it. We pulled it off, man. And the schedule is weird. It's hiding behind the screen, so I won't spoil it. Well, in a second you'll see it. But it's a weird way that this happened. So this does not mean what you think it means, but we did win the conference, so that is a huge thing and a stipulation of our contract. We've gotten the Nittany Lions over the hump and have grabbed ourselves a Big Ten conference championship for the first time since, hold on, let's crunch the numbers. Hold on here. I know this is so unprofessional. I should just edit this out, right? Has Penn State, because when they joined and win, is it 80 or 90? I always forget. Someone is probably screaming it, like, dude, it was at this time. But it's okay. So I just wanted to look up really quick the last time Penn State won a Big Ten championship. And it looks like 94. It looks like 94 is the answer. So for the first time since 1994, which in this game we're in the 2015 season. So this was the last time. Or I haven't checked the previous standings and stuff I record to see if they've done it. I don't think they have. So we're just going to assume this is the first one since 94, which is crazy. A 20-year beast has been felled. We've done it. So yeah, all right, and then here is the schedule. So you're never going to believe who we lose to. Never going to believe it. You're going to see it. There it is. That's who we lose to. So we start off, we play a lot of close games. So we beat Memphis pretty big here. Ended up having a very close game with Fresno State, who had a great season. Remember, I told you guys, they've been really good in the WAC, man. So, and they almost gave us everything that we could take in week number 3. And then we beat Syracuse, barely beat Syracuse, who 4-8 is their best season in like 7 years, by the way. They've been like a 1 or 2 win team every year. So, and then Minnesota beats the snot out of us. A 6-6 Minnesota at home, by the way, in front of a home crowd, beats the heck out of us. And then we ended up just getting revenge on a good Wisconsin team. And then we also clobbered Purdue, barely beat USF, who was bad again this year, beat Iowa pretty handedly, beat Ohio State by a point. Beat them by a point, man. That is just absolutely, that was basically our Super Bowl right there. That was our national championship right there, just beating Ohio State. I said just before we ran the sim that we would need to beat Ohio State to even win the conference, and that game alone won it for us because Ohio State only grabbed 2 losses. I'm not sure who their other one was, but I think they had 1 or 2. No, they had 1 heading into this game, and then, of course, we gave them their second loss. So, Northwestern, we ended up beating pretty well. Indiana, we absolutely just smothered. Same with Michigan State. And then that is how the season transpires. So now we're going to simulate through conference championship week and see exactly what our fate awaits, what fate awaits us here in bowl season. No Heisman votes again, because why would we have any Heisman votes? But Kerry Colvin for Colorado State wins a Heisman. So what? We've had like 4 or 5 like mid-major Heisman winners. It's so weird, man. So bizarre. This game is just so weird. And then 2 guys from Oklahoma getting Heisman votes. So interesting there. And then we're going to be playing UCLA in the Rose Bowl. I probably should have figured that as much since we won the Big Ten and we're not going to play for the Natty. We would just be going to the Rose Bowl, which is going to happen. So we are playing UCLA, the winners of the Pac-12, who for some reason are not going to play for a Natty at 12-0, 3rd in the country. I'm very curious who's ahead of them. Okay, I'm just going to say it. If a mid-major is 1st or 2nd, I will lose my mind. And I'm not going to spoil it until we watch the Rose Bowl. So we're going to stay completely in the dark until that happens. But this is the next game that is ahead of us here. We have to play the Bruins of UCLA. Should be an all-timer here. Should be a very fun game here. This could be an absolute huge boost for us. UCLA riding a 16-game win streak, obviously dating back to last season. And look at that. They are boasting the #1 offense in the country. We have the 27th, man, so we're even worse than we were last year. We were, 6th last year in offense? Now we're 27th. So we're not even that great offensively, man. Looks like defense is really our bread and butter. But either way. So, yeah, the best offense, #4th rushing offense, and they got #7th rushing defense. So UCLA is definitely the better team here. I'm a little concerned about our chances in this game, but who knows? Maybe things will go well for us. I was concerned about us against Georgia, but maybe we'll see. We should be able to at least compete in this game. I don't know, but we're already where we need to be. We won the conference, so I think we can take some time here to build and build. But we're in a good spot, and I hope to see you guys in the next one when we play UCLA in the Rose Bowl.